I have behind me the amp that I got. It's actually been a couple months since I got it. It's almost October. I'm out here in my garage. It's still like almost 100 degrees out, and it's like late September. So I don't know what's going on. It just will not stop. I've been waiting to work on it. I had to wait a little bit to get the parts. I got a new tube, bag of switches. Got both those off Amazon, and then you saw that speaker that I got right after I got the amp. Switches is actually almost the exact same price to get 6 of them as it was to get 1. So I think this amp, it only has 5 switches. Obviously that one's no good. So I'm gonna switch out, pull off all of them, and just put all new switches on there. I think that is probably the best way for me to go about that. And switch out the speaker and the tube. And true to form, just like I said, I have not plugged this in or tested it yet, so I sure hope it actually works. It's going to be a bit of a bummer if it doesn't, but we'll figure that out. Pulling the cabinet first, I'm just going to switch the knobs out. That won't take very long. And then I got to pull the chassis to replace the speaker. Then obviously the tubes are pretty easy replacement. This one is a hex head. Okay. So the easiest way to do this is to turn the volume, or whatever it is. It's actually a replacement pot. Probably why the knob's different. So turn it all the way up to 10. Start on this side. Tighten it up there. And that way you're in line with the little marker. Double check and make sure. Yep. Okay. Those are all done. That looks pretty sharp. Flip it around. This thing's weird. Doesn't have a brand on it. It looks older, so I know when we had the store, they had those. So I don't know when they started making them. Probably sometime around when they started making circuits and stuff like that, instead of just having tubes. So maybe as old as like the 60s or 70s. I doubt it's as old as this amp. Anyways, so the tube's in there. Looks pretty good. Need to unscrew this little bracket for the power cord. Go ahead and unplug the cables for the speaker. Luckily Fender, at least on this one, they're not soldered in there, so it's pretty convenient. It also unplugs right there, which is cool too. So the only way to get the speaker out is to pull this chassis, which isn't really a big deal. There's nice chassis there. This guy over. This only has 4 nuts, so it won't take me too long to get it out of here. that one out. This one with Fender on it, which is awesome. That guy in there. So I think, so I spent $15 on the speaker, $125 for everything, but the other two things, I still have them, but they're pretty much junk. So $125 on the amp, so $140. I think $20 on the knobs on Amazon. Double check on that, and I'm pretty sure that's how much they were. And then $15 on the tube. So that puts us at like $175, I think. 15, 20, and 15, 30, and 20. Yes, 50. So $175. So if this ends up working at $175, that's an awesome deal. A little Vibrochamp from the mid-70s. Couldn't get an exact beat on what these are worth, but that's definitely, it's worth at least twice as much as that. So I think probably high-end, what it would really sell for is like $650. I saw people asking as much as $1,000 for them, but I don't think they're going to go for that much. So, in all honesty, this one isn't perfect. I've had to swap some stuff around. I don't know if this speaker, what the speaker's from. I think, you know, it's definitely a Fender Champ speaker, but maybe a different time period. It's hard to say. I'm not going to sit there and try to figure that out. So, alright, got the speaker in. Anyways, I think easily I could probably get $450 for this amp without much effort. And I'd make pretty good money, and whoever buys it most likely would be pretty friggin' happy with it. So, win-win for everyone. Glad I found it, even if it was a little bit of a uncomfortable situation for me. That's okay. Nothing happened. People were just a little strange. Well, the woman. Never met the man. Definitely feeling sketched out from the beginning. I don't really know what to think about that whole thing. Definitely very happy that nothing happened and that I got away with the amp for what I feel like is a very reasonable price. This is all assuming that it works. Put a lot of time and energy into this guy. It's gonna be a bummer if it doesn't work. There's obviously a panel across the middle that's missing. I don't think that's really that big a deal. It's not like vital to make it function or anything. So, like I said, it's not perfect. Whoever gets it, it's going to be a player. I think it probably would be a good little recording amp. Or if you just have a small space and you get that warm tube sound, but you don't want to get too loud. That's pretty much what these are used for anyway, so it doesn't really matter what it looks like. I think it actually looks cooler when it's beat up anyways. Obviously, judging by all the beat up old shit that I always get. Just about done. Not too bad. That only took me about 20 minutes or so. Maybe 15. Pretty simple little amps. Pack a lot of punch though. Definitely not loud, but sound awesome. Never actually heard of Vibrochamp. The only difference between this and a regular champ, which I've heard lots of, is the tremolo circuit, or the vibro. Cool thing is this has a pedal input too, so you can turn it on and off. Those pedals for this are actually pretty sought after. Oh no. Alright, we can fix that real quick. I actually have my soldering iron. Heat it up. So, as you can see, I was monkeying around with it. The ground wire broke off. So I'll just fix that real quick. Probably use the solder that's already on it. Sometimes I wish I had 3 hands. There's some solder right over here too. Here it is. Just trying to be lazy. One working out for me. Alright. Try this again. Oh, that's hot. Set the amp on fire. Come on. Alright. There we go. I just plug my soldering iron in before I go to do things like this, because you never know when weird crap like that's going to happen, and it certainly makes it nice to have it ready to go. Moment's notice. Right, so there's that. There's that. Got a cable. I'm going to grab a guitar. It's one of those guitars I got a week or so ago from that guy. Unfortunately, I don't know if it works. Like I said, I don't know if this guitar works. It's got a few issues. The knob needs to be replaced. That needs to be glued down. Got a good nick in the headstock I was going to touch up. So, if it doesn't work, I won't be super surprised. At Global, I got it all cleaned up and going, and it didn't work. But I think it may just be the jack. Alright. Amp powered on. Majorly out of tune. Tremolo works. Alright, so input 1 works. Two works as well. $175 for a working Vibrochamp. That is cool. Heck yeah. Alright. I am pleased, to say the least. So I will clean this thing up a little bit more, and I'm going to get it out in Louisville. And like I said, it'll probably be pretty cheap. Definitely wanting to pass on the good deal I got, so pay it forwards.